Well, good morning from Pollock Shields in Glasgow. I'd like to point out that that is my shadow, which obviously means, which is very apropos to my thing today, that we have beautiful, wait for it, dun, 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 sun, yay, sun. How beautiful, look at that beautiful sky. Let us just take a deep breath with the beauty of life for one moment. Ah, yes, life is beautiful. Life is beautiful even when it's raining, but as we need the vitamins from the sun, I'm going to stand in the shade. If I can find some, I'm going to get right behind this tree. I think I'm in the shade. I might be. Maybe shadowing my face. So good morning. Hello. Oh, what a lovely day. This is a great spot for dancing, actually, because I get amazing perspective. If you can see, oh, that's me. If you see way over there, like you could see actually quite a long distance over to the north side of the city, which is quite wonderful when I'm dancing. It allows me to look out, which I feel is quite important to outdoor dancing. And then, of course, because of where everything is positioned, unlike when I'm down at the Broomalall, the sun, actually, I do get the rays of the sun fairly early on, which is fab, which I love. And it's quite appropriate because I was thinking about this whole, there's loads of shit going down, for lack of better phrasing, in the world. Yesterday, I went out. I was shopping for my outfit for International Women's Day for the disco. Ended up bumping into two of my wonderful dancers who are both bringing their daughters on the day. Good morning. They're both bringing their daughters on the day, which is totally awesome. And they don't know each other. I bumped into them separately, which was ace. And then bumped into another, I love days like this, bumped into another friend of mine who had just staged a creative protest at Royal Bank of Scotland for UK Uncut, which is of course a major thing. And it just kind of brought, it's funny because of course like the police stormed. I mean, it's like they were in there like playing a harmonica. And there were like hundreds of police cars out, and I thought, oh gosh, this is crazy. This is nuts, you know. It's like, and I was really heartened by what's happening in Wisconsin, because the police actually went in and sat on the side of protesters and said, "We're here to protect and serve, and you guys are who we respond to." And I thought, actually, yes, it's a difficult position for the police to be in, I think. Because it starts to get very muddy in terms of what is it that you're protecting and serving. And so this is totally related. It's a bit tangential, as per usual. Welcome to my world. Because I was emailed a very heartwarming, but also quite not sad. A story that made me think about some of this in a different way. And my friend was out with another friend of his one night late, and had just been having a good night, and were on their way home, and this man was just standing looking very forlorn and by a phone box, and they just said, "Are you okay?" And I guess he was a little worse for wear. I'm not sure that he was standing there, and he said, "Well, actually, my wife and my 2-year-old daughter were killed in a car crash last week, and life isn't worth living anymore. I'm going to go jump into the river." Very true story. And they said, "Oh, that must be so horrible for you," and it gave him some comfort. And it was, and he spoke to them for a few moments, and he said, "You know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go to my friend's house. Thank you for. I don't know what I was thinking." And I think it's one of these things. There's an old Zoroastrian story. It's from a tale called Thus Spake Zarathustra or something like this. Zoroastrianism is the ancient Persian religion before anything else, goes back forever. And it talks of Zarathustra. He was in a cave and he believed that the shadows made by his fire were the gods, and he only needed to emerge from the cave to see a great big wider world. And I think there is an element of that in a lot of what's happening right now, both with that man in terms of how simple acts of kindness can open a door and remind people that they are connected into a much greater world. As tragic as it is that he lost his daughter and his wife, which I can only imagine how devastating that is, that there is a bigger picture. And sometimes we can feel like our lives are quite worthless or not worth living anymore, and the whole idea of worth is more than money. Actually, we only associate it with money nowadays, as many things, which is part of the thing. The problem now is the whole thing about honor and connection and nobility. It's a very noble thing to do, something that is greater than yourself. And so for my friend to reach out in that moment to see a person who is suffering, and how it opened the door, that's all, so that individual could see the light. And I think right now, in terms of what's happening, with my other friend who did the RBS protest, it is an attempt to open the door for the whole economic situation, which is a complete little music there for me, which really the solutions are all well within our grasps, and for us all to be happy and to support one another. And so it's just a question of how is it we do open the door for other people and recognize that needs happening. So that's what I was dancing for today. It was that we may recognize the fact that the shadows are of our own creation, and that all we need to do is step through the door outside the cave to see the more complete and beautiful picture. So, and I talked to Huey again today. I love Huey. I came by, and we were talking about in terms of, we were saying, he's talking about my dancing. He's saying how wonderful it was, and he loves to see it, and he's so happy I'm here and stuff. And he said, well, nobody does that here. And I said, well, if you think about it, nowadays it's quite common to see runners of all backgrounds, out and about in the street. And one generation ago, even, that would have been totally unacceptable, especially for a mum to go out in the morning for a wee run. Totally unacceptable. Maybe acceptable for her to take the kids to the pool, but totally unacceptable for her to be out and running. And so it's just a shift in thinking, really. But I think anything that brings us happiness and doesn't create suffering is what we should be putting all of our efforts into. Yay! So here's to that. Cheers. Have a great day. I'll be back here tomorrow. So